Hi, Aniedi. Welcome to DevFest, Tanzania. We're so happy to have you here today. I hope everyone is well. We're really happy to have you here. I hope we'll be able to learn a lot from you today. Karibu.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I would just briefly share a few remarks. I just want to confirm that everyone can see me. So those who are joining, my name is, just quickly check. All right, seems like everything is okay. It's been, I think, 3 years since I first and last visited, Dar es Salaam. So that must have been either in 2017 or 20. These days it's very difficult to really know how much time has passed. But for one thing that has been, I would say, absolutely clear to me, is the fact that a lot has changed over the last 3 years. More importantly, over the last 1 year, it's been extremely, extremely different. The way things have happened and the way we've had to adapt to these things. So what I'm going to quickly do is just a very short, I would say, welcome remarks and an opening presentation. And I hope that with this, everyone can get along with me. So I'm going to share my screen very briefly. Let's do this. Very quickly, yes. This again. Can you see my screen? I'm not very sure my screen is visible. I had some permissions that were asked. I granted those permissions. But just in case you cannot see my screen, I may have to just stop sharing briefly. Nothing much. I'm going to just talk through my points generally. So for those who may not know me, my name is Aniedi Udo-Obong, and I work as the Developer Relations Ecosystem Program Manager at Google. My primary responsibility is ensuring that the communities we have across sub-Saharan Africa are doing very well. So what I'm going to do is just talk about change. At this particular period in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, and in fact, all over the world, a lot of things are really changing very, very fast. When I say fast, I mean really very, very, very fast. First of all, there's a lot of, I would say, civil unrest. There have been things around elections in the US, and in many countries in Africa, including Tanzania, Uganda, Ivory Coast. And there's just a lot of things that are happening and a lot of things are changing for everyone. So I think more importantly, if we look at how we used to conduct events quite like, I would say, a while ago, everything sort of looked like this. So we're able to come together, pull up a laptop, everyone gets together, and then go through some specific technologies, talk about the web, talk about Android, talk about cloud. But unfortunately, these days, this is not possible anymore. Although we are gradually opening up our countries, opening up lockdown, there's still a lot of restrictions in some places, and in some places, there is some level of fear or cautiousness about gathering together. What this has really brought to the whole world is the fact that things have gone live and things have gone virtual. Ideally, we would have been having an in-person conference, but today, very much like has happened in many communities, in many DevFest, in many other events all through the year 2020, We're connecting on Live. We're connecting on the Baby platform. We're connecting on tools like Meet, like Zoom, Skype, just to connect with one another. Obviously, we are ahead of many other people. For those of us who are in technology, who are in software development, we're kind of used to these things. We're knowing how to connect on our phones, on our mobiles, writing code, talking to people all over the world. But it's a slightly different environment for the rest of the world. Some people are beginning to use these tools out of necessity for the first time. Some people are beginning to learn new vocabulary, learn new technology skills. And all these things are really, really absolutely new developments for them. But for us, it is sort of second, but also we're not completely used to a completely online environment. So it's still some level of adjustment, some level of change. But what this has clearly put to us is that skills such as software development, networking, product design, product management are more and more and more useful every single day. The demand, the necessity, the importance of people who can showcase these skills is increasing every day. And more than ever, this is the best time, if you are in technology, to take advantage of the opportunities the world is offering. Everyone has been synonymous with lockdown, so these are some of the new words we've heard all through this year. So we've heard lockdown, we've heard pandemic, we've heard shelter in place, we've heard so many new words have come into our mind. And as these new words are come to mind, it's very much like if you are a web developer and you are involved with JavaScript, you would know that every single week, let me not say every single day, almost every single week or every single month, there's a new JavaScript framework, there's a new JavaScript library, there's a new pattern, more things are being added to the ES standards. You may be going from ES5 to 6 to 7 and stuff like that. So basically, we're living in a time where more than ever, a lot of things have changed very fast. I was listening to a quote from one of our speakers at Google speaking about machine learning. I think even Jeff Dean has referenced this, that the amount of data that has been generated over the last 2 years is more than all the data that has been generated since the beginning of the internet. So we're developing and we're acquiring and we're being tasked with analyzing big data faster than ever. So I think my call to everyone is, amidst all this noise, amidst all this change, two things should come to mind. One is that things will be different and they may look like what we've never seen before. So we've got to embrace change. You will find yourself trying to learn a new skill, trying to collaborate, trying to connect, trying to find a job in a different way than you have ever done before. Trying to go international, trying to make new friends, trying to even find love in a way that is completely different from what you've ever experienced before. The way we build software, the way we, set up a development environment, trying to build or maybe local host, a lot of all that is moving. If you're in sort of like the data science and machine learning field and you want to get started, there's really no better tool to get started with a machine learning project or a data science project than something like, Jupyter Notebook or Colab from Google, where you have a fully set up environment and then you just go online. And then when you're using cloud infrastructure, whether you're using, the platform as a service or you're actually going down bare metals and setting up virtual machines and installing an operating system, you basically can have access to resources, computing power, storage power, sometimes even networking that is not generally only confined to the power of the immediate laptop you're hosting. So the way we're building software, the way we're using the cloud, the way we're using services, the way people are doing things like even serverless, even though there's really nothing like serverless, it's just like there's somebody else's server. The way you're able to write functions to respond to some service or connect to some API is changing, right? So embracing change or accepting this change or thinking about this change is very, very important. The second thing you will need to consider is just being I would say consistent. Now, as all these new technologies and all these new tools, new frameworks, new libraries, new modes of development, even from a company like Google, we hear about Flutter, you hear about Fuchsia, you hear about new languages, new paradigms. The most important thing, I think, for us developers is to understand the opportunity. Specifically in Africa, there in Tanzania, across the continent, there are lots of challenges. These challenges may be infrastructure, they may be political, they may be civic, that are affecting us, still provide us an opportunity and are still making more relevant to the ecosystem and to the economy. So my reach out to you is, as we pick up these few new ways of doing things and we confront these difficulties, please remember that these hurdles, I like to call them hurdles or obstacles, should not completely dampen your spirits. However hard you have worked together with one another to even put up today's event is already a testament to your abilities. And then one thing you can be sure of within the IT industry, technology, software, and the developer industry, merit really matters. This is one industry where you're very sure that if you work very hard and you put in your best effort, a company, an organization, an investor cannot choose somebody for some other reason, whatever that is, nepotism, tribalism, friendship. People don't make those kind of choices when it comes to IT decisions, technology jobs. Competence and meritocracy is what reigns and what matters. So as we see pictures like this all over the world, whether you're looking at this or this, where stages have been turned upside down, seats are empty, large halls are not completely in full use. These images, rather than shock you or depress you, should actually motivate you to do more. From Coursera to Google to Microsoft to Facebook to GitHub to Udacity to Udemy, there have been lots and lots of technology platforms, technology training platforms that have either provided their training, their skills, their opportunities for free, or made them discounted, or made them available for a while. It will still be a bit of a difficulty for you to find out what works for you with the best technologies, like whether you have to download to your mobile or try and get them offline, or whether you have to use them on an app. But I really, really like to encourage you that it's not impossible. It is just difficult. So you have to continue looking for what works and staying a bit consistent and gradually increasing your skill sets and sort of like the technologies and the problems you can solve. I love to believe and always say that problems create sort of like an opportunity, because when you solve a problem, that is where people actually pay money. That's what people pay money for. I'm going to close by just making reference to one particular incident that has happened in Nigeria recently, and that's with a company called Paystack. It was formed about 4 to 5 years ago to be in payment. So for those of you that have heard of a company like Stripe, Paystack set out to be the Stripe of Africa, making it easy to connect, payment solutions, payment cards, merchants to businesses and customers, just making it easy for you to pay. In less than 5 years, they have turned their company from the idea of 1 or 2 developers and a product manager into a company that was acquired for $200 million, roughly. That's what we hear. By the company they tried to emulate or try to set out to be, to create in the space, is the same company that has, first of all, taken an interest in them, eventually invested in them, and now has acquired them. And that's a huge amount of money and one of the biggest exits in the Nigerian, if not the African tech ecosystem. So as you identify problems and challenges and you build solutions with the tech skills you have, you don't have all the tech skills in the world. I was listening to the Paystack CEO yesterday on the live chat he had, and he said he doesn't even consider himself the most fantastic or the most audacious developer out there. Even at the time he was building Paystack, he didn't even have the full belief or confidence in himself. But he went on to use the skills he had and struggled to acquire more skills and more information and more partners and collaborators to build what today has been one of the biggest success stories. And it's still an ongoing concern and a beacon of light for most of us in this ecosystem. So think about, definitely recognize the challenges you're facing right now, but think about the opportunities that it is creating. So whether it's civic tech, whether it's gov tech, whether you're doing things to mobilize and connect people, you definitely do have the opportunities. And in communities like GDG, with programs like DevFest, and all the other amazing things you're doing with all the other companies, you will slowly piece together the skills and the abilities you need to create something awesome. So thank you very much. It's been my pleasure being able to be part of your DevFest and just give these opening remarks. I hope you appreciate the fact that you still are able to have a DevFest today. As I got postponed, it's not the ideal way you wanted. It's different from what has happened in the last 2 to 3 years, but it's still something. And next year, we look forward to having a better congregation and a better get together, probably in person with more collaboration in a less charged and difficult environment. So thank you very much. And do make sure you tweet about DevFest and DevFest Tanzania and go on to have a wonderful event. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you, Aniedi, so much. We really need to be motivated. Thank you for being here with us today. So we're moving on to our next session where we have Frank. Hello, guys. Thank you. Today we have Frank Tamra speaking to us about Take a Design Pill in mobile development and all be well. Hi, Frank. Welcome to DevFest Tanzania.
Hi.